Hi, good day, everyone. So, my name is Cyril, and you're welcome to the Cloud Journey HQ. And please, if you are just joining in, do feel free to subscribe to the channel, and also you could share and also like the video. And should you have any question, you can drop it in the comment down below, and I'll be very, very glad to attend to your question. So, in today's session, I just want to talk about the major cloud service provider we have, and also which of them you might choose to go into should you want to go into cloud computing um, in the next or in no distant time. And secondly, I'm also going to talk about certification journey for you to get started into the cloud field. All right, so let's dive into this. We have the majorly the Microsoft Azure. We have the AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, and we also have the GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. All right, so I'm more or less advocate for Microsoft Azure because I recently got the privilege to pitch my ideas and was granted about $1,000 for Azure credit, which also gave me the opportunity to apply for $5,000 credit. So I'm going to advocate more for Microsoft Azure because they kind of see why startup needs this subscription, and they are also supporting them in the journey. So for us to get started into the cloud journey, the fundamental part we actually need is the Azure fundamentals for the Microsoft Azure, because these are the foundation stage. So if you actually would like to go into cloud computing, for example, you may choose to write the first AZ900, then after that you then write maybe the 104, because AZ900 is actually 1-star certification. So it's more like the foundation for Microsoft Azure cloud products. So if you pass the exam for AZ900, which is the foundation, then you can then choose to write the AZ104, which is more like Azure Administrator. So then you're going to understand more about the compute, the storage, the database, also for backup and recovery. All right. So then if you then want to then go into specialty, you could actually write the IoT certification for the specialty course, or you want to go into the associate program, then maybe you want to go to DevOps or developer, you can then write the Azure DevOps, which is AZ400. So these are like more like the roadmap for you to get started if you actually want to go into the cloud journey. So you don't just write any exam, right? So there's actually a prerequisite to the next exams. So for me, I'm actually 3 times Azure certification earner. So when I started my journey in 2020, the first exam I wrote was AZ900. Then later on, I wrote my AZ104, which is Azure Administrator. Then follow up to that, I was able to write my DevOps, which is the implementation of DevOps, as AZ400. So if you look at these are like more like the roadmap for Azure. So this also, I think it's kind of similar to AWS, because in AWS you get to write the solution architect exam. You also get to write the cloud practitioner exam, which is like the fundamental side of things. And also this also boils down to people that might be interested with GCP, like Google Cloud Platform has their own fundamental exams where you need to write. But funny enough, I've come to realize that all these exams have something in common. So for the fact that it's actually cloud technology they preach, you still get some terminologies that are quite similar, or if not just the terminology similar, but you get to understand the definition. So for example, they can actually ask you, what are the benefits of going into cloud computing? The same benefit that AWS gives is similar to what Azure may give. So for example, one of the benefits for you to go into cloud is, number one, high availability. You get to have your resources at very high availability rate. So you could actually deploy something in Nigeria and then deploy something in South Africa North. So for example, if there is a disaster in Nigeria, right, because of you have a duplicate copy in South Africa North, at the end of the day, your data is still being kept. So that's what high availability can do for you. So that's what they call zonal redundancy and all that. So, but that's later on, we'll dive into the cloud journey. All right. So the next benefit for you going to the cloud, they can ask you this: okay, scalability. So you get to scale. You don't really need to buy hardware components. So you actually can scale up your your cloud resources, maybe your compute, your storage, your database, and all that. You could actually scale up, and it's more or less going to be seamless when you scale up these resources because you don't need to buy those hardware components, right? So these are some of the things I realized that they actually ask, and also elasticity. During Black Friday, for example, you don't need to start getting more RAM size or more compute speed for your website. These stuff can actually scale up by itself. So cloud services can have similarities when it comes to the benefits, right? So, but then the only thing I feel that might be different is the terminologies for the resources. So, for example, like I said when in the last session, the virtual machines can be called Elastic EC2, right? So Elastic Compute Service, or what they call it. So EC2 is what the AWS called theirs. Then Google can call theirs Compute Engine. But all of them are more or less virtual machines for Azure. So Azure called theirs a virtual machine. So for example, you're trying to develop a website in Azure, you use App Service. So, but then if you want to do that in AWS, you need to use the resources. One of the resources called the Elastic Beanstalk. So if you look at it, it's similar, but then the terminologies may be different. So for example, you're trying to build a function, you use Lambda for AWS, and in Azure, you use Azure Function. So these are just some of the things that I feel might be a bit complex, but with time, if you actually get to know one of these cloud provider very well, it should be very easy for you to learn other providers because some of these resources do nearly or similar to what is also available for other resources. All right. So since you've been able to understand that AWS, GCP, and Microsoft Azure are the major cloud service, which of them would you like to venture into? I think that's a big that's a very big question. So let me do a PR. So for Microsoft, I'm going to do PR for Microsoft because I am currently using Microsoft for my own program, and also it's helping my journey as a cloud practitioner. So I would say Microsoft because one, when it comes to cost, so Microsoft has a more friendly cost, right? When it comes to using Microsoft services, so you could actually buy maybe a B series SKU for as low as around maybe $34, $39 per month. And when you run a compute machine and you're paying up to that, I don't think it's quite a lot because you could actually still set up maybe a start and stop operation for your VM. So you may not really even get up to that cost at the end of the day. So Microsoft is quite affordable. And so that's one of the reasons why I would suggest if you would like to go, okay, I want to go into a cloud journey and I want to know the subscription I can actually get started with. So Microsoft is fine when it comes to cost. Costing is very preferable, but AWS kind of started this cloud journey. So they are a bit pricey because a lot of people already know them and they use them. So since Microsoft is coming in, I guess they're trying to like, okay, let me just get the market in and get my customers. So yeah, so it's quite fair. I don't know much about Google platform, but I feel Google platform also is also upcoming because they're actually developing several products recently. But I will talk more about what I know, which is Microsoft. So it's quite affordable. And one other thing I feel you may want to consider, or why you would like to consider Microsoft Azure, is the fact that so Microsoft as a cloud platform, they kind of like give leverages to those people that want to go into this journey. So I know several cloud platforms are coming up with several benefits, such as the benefit like vouchers, events and all those stuff. So Microsoft also has like Microsoft Build, Microsoft Ignite. So these are some of the programs that comes up, and they share voucher to people that might be interested into the cloud journey. So that's one of the reasons why I would actually still advocate for Microsoft, because I was able to get some vouchers which allowed me to write some of the exams that I wrote in the past year. So I still like that for Microsoft, because they kind of give like 100% at some point, then they actually start giving about 50%. But then it's still fair, because I know for the AWS I did one time, I think they actually gave a slot about 25%. But funny enough, because of the competition right now, I think AWS are now giving about 50%. So yeah, so when it comes to voucher, Microsoft give more vouchers over the years. I don't know about recently. I think they are trying to be a bit, but then Microsoft give more vouchers. So that's another reason why you may have to consider using the Azure platform. Thirdly, Microsoft has a very big program for startups. So, for example, if you want to go into cloud journey and you have an idea, so for the fact you have an idea, you can actually pitch what you have. Your idea must be solving one of the 17 SDG goals, right? So you actually want to be solving the sustainable development goal on education, quality education, gender equality, inequalities, uh, social well-being, cleanliness, agriculture, no food, zero hunger. So one of those SDG goals, good work and ethics, you can actually choose about three of them and pitch your idea. So Microsoft also have like an opportunity where they give you about $1,000 for Microsoft Startup Founder Hub. Then if you actually have something tangible like a website, and maybe you've gotten your certified document, they could actually give you about $5,000. So you get the opportunity to still scale up, and you still can get up to like about 150,000 US dollars credits for your deployment. So I think that's a lot, because AWS may have similar platform, but I don't think AWS has the the program that is set up for startup, and they can be able to fund the startup to about $150,000. That's quite a lot of money, because it's a startup and they are trying to fund your business. So that's the third thing I would like to chime in for you to go into, for you to, when you want to go into cloud solutions or cloud service provider. Apart from the cost, which I mentioned earlier, I talked about the voucher availability of vouchers, and I also talked about the program they actually have for startups and businesses that want to go into cloud journey. So before I go into the last one, I just want to let you know that if you're actually still watching this video and you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I think that's very wrong, because I'm actually taking my time to give you this content, and I feel it's something that should all go well with you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So please don't forget to like and also share this video. And should you have any question of why you also want to start up any of this journey, and you want to know how to also get some of this credit or voucher, please drop your question in the comment down below, and I'll be very, very glad to answer your questions. All right, so now let's dive into the next benefit of why you should consider Microsoft Azure for the AWS. All right, so for the Microsoft Azure side of things, I've actually get to use the Microsoft Azure portal, and I used the GCP long ago when I did some program with QuickLab. Then I also used AWS console. Now I noticed something. They kind of have similarities, but then I realized that the Microsoft Azure platform is way more user friendly. So I'm not saying this because I work partly with Microsoft, but I'm saying this because I have actually used this platform myself. So when you, for example, a newbie, for example, right, and I want to navigate the environment. So the console, the platform itself, is quite easier, because you could actually just search for virtual machines. Then you click on create, and you create your virtual machines. You go to storage account, you can search for it. So it's the GUI is quite simple, because one is blue and white, so you know what you're looking for. But like in AWS, you get to see colors like orange, black, and all those stuff. So man, these are quite complex for me. Like I'm still trying to really get hang of it, because it's way more complex. All right, so I think that was like the fourth side of it, that it's making the Azure, Microsoft Azure, more like the greatest things in sliced bread for me. And yeah, so I'm gonna drop the fifth one, but then I would like you to drop the fifth one in the comment down below. So just tell me what fifth benefit do you think Azure, Microsoft Azure, if you're a cloud user, just tell me the fifth benefit that the Microsoft Azure has over the AWS or the GCP. And we also have other ones, which is cloud. We have the Oracle Cloud. We also have the IBM Cloud. We have the Google Digital Oceans, and yeah, and Salesforce. All right, but then these are the three major ones, and I've been able to give out about four of them. So please tell me the fifth one, and I'll be very glad to also have your engagement on this. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the like button, and you can also click on the notification bell. So should I share any update, you get the access to see the content once I share an update. Thank you for today, and bye for now.